Hello guys. Should have been a while since I've made a video, so I thought I'll get back into it due to a lot of email requests. Alright? One thing though, on an Android, or on at least my Android, LG G6, I found out that I can only record up to 4 gig. I think it's something has to do with the camera phone app. If you can have a way to bypass the 4 gig limit video, let me know, because it was a lot of pain for me last night recording and found out that the video was cut off. And as you know, I do all my videos in one take. Right now I'm using my wife's iPhone, which records to an internal memory, and she has 128 gigs, so that's not a problem. In front of us, we have 3 stock lights. I don't sell a lot of stock lights, but when I do, I think they're very good. Especially headlamps. I don't mod headlamps. Well, a couple, but I don't mod a lot of headlamps because I think they're just excellent from the factory, and you don't really need anything too powerful, too hot on your head. Here we have 3 lights. I've picked these among many that I have tested because I think they excel really well with for specific pros and cons. All right. Wowtac A2S, $35. Olight H2R, $90. Acebeam H15, that's $110. So quite a big gap between the cheapest and the most expensive. And you see why in a bit. It's not as the gap is in terms of build quality and what you get for your money. It's not as big as it seems in terms of performance, okay? Although there's a great price difference. So right off the bat, that shows that this Wowtac is gonna get great ratings for me. Let's first unbox, and then we'll see what we all have, and then we'll talk more. I tend to ramble a lot, and that's just, I can't help it. I'm sorry. Here's the light. There is a micro USB cable, a couple of O-rings, manual, pretty standard issued cardboard box. That's all you need really. Olight has the best packaging. Pull on this tab and the lights slide out. Very nice box, almost iPhone case box quality. Open this box, you have the light itself. Okay. Pull out this little box here. You have the manual. A magnetic USB charging cable, this foam padding, and the headband itself. Okay. On the Acebeam, you have a decent quality box. In terms of qualities, right in between these two, you have the headband, the light, pocket clip, couple of O-rings, Sigla gel pack, and manuals, warranty, things like that. All right, so let me, because I don't really use the Wowtac. But I do run the H2R and the H15 extensively. So I have them already mounted on headbands. So I will show those instead. Okay. And they're already custom fitted to my head, so easier for demonstration. Okay. So here we go. Here's the 3 light headlamp. Charging feature wise, only the Wowtac and the H2R has built-in charging feature. The Acebeam does not, and that's kind of a disappointment. Okay, this Wowtac is really an incredible value. It comes with a 3400 milliamp hour battery that has a built-in micro USB port. I'll show you guys right now for those that are not familiar with it. There is a micro USB port there that this micro USB cable plugs into. There's a little LED there that indicates if it's red when the battery's not fully charged and green when it is. So that's pretty cool. All that feature built into this 18650. And I think that's very neat because the battery itself is like 15 bucks. So the light is like half that price, $15. So that's an excellent value. All 3 comes with a battery, 3400 milliamp, 3000 milliamp, 3100 milliamp hours. Okay, the battery in the Olight is a proprietary battery. Yes, there is magnetic charging, which is a very cool feature that I like, It just sticks right onto the rear of the tail light and it charges. There's also an LED in the rear of the charger cable here. Red for partially drained battery and green for fully charged. However, the battery is proprietary. That means that this battery can only be charged in this light and that's it. You can run other 18650 if you want, it's just won't charge. If you do run an aftermarket battery in this light, do pick a high drain battery because this is a high drain light only. It's over 2000 lumen. 900 lumen. Both of these are about 2200 lumen with a slight edge for the Acebeam. The Acebeam comes with a 3100 milliamp high drain Acebeam branded cell, but there is no charging features at all on this light. So if you buy the Acebeam, you have to go out and get a standalone charger. Not the case with these two. Build quality, they're really on par with each other. If anything, the Olight is a tiny bit better, but that's just because I'm brand biased. But if I have to say why the Olight's better, I don't really know. Honestly, all three of these are excellent build quality, and that's a lot to say for the Wowtac here. Let's talk about all the external before we get into the UI, okay, and the performance and all that. Headband quality. These two are relatively similar, the Wowtac and the Olight, right? The Olight is possibly a little bit better. It's a little softer to the touch, more velvety feel. The Wowtac's just as nice, okay? What stands out is the Acebeam headband. You can see here is the same material on one side, but on the other side, there's this rubberized coating, wavy coating here. Not sure if the camera will catch it, but this rubberized does wonders for the headband. You see here on my head, fitted to my head already. If I try to access the switch with one finger, the button slides, right? The entire headlamp slides on my head. And if I'm on a bicycle, on a dirt bike, and this thing goes up and down, it's kind of just wobbly, and there's quite a bit of play, just because there's not enough grip on my head. On the Acebeam, however, with this rubberized grip, it just stays put on my head, and I can just shake my head, it doesn't go anywhere, and it's so strong that I can actually activate the light, and it will just ever so slightly barely shift the light, but it'll bounce right back because of the traction on the rubberized grip. And I think that's game-changing. All headlamps should have this rubberized headband. However, there's one advantage to the Olight headband. It's kind of an advantage and a disadvantage. To me, so far, is an advantage. You can look at that. It'll just come undone, just like so. Similar design to those bike mount on the back of your car. It seems really strong. I just don't know how strong it is under very vigorous activities. For me, I try to simulate vigorous activities, but it didn't come undone. But it's there. It's a little bit to be concerning because you don't want this to pop out mid-action. You'll lose the light, especially if you're if you drop it into water and you can't retrieve it. If you go out fishing or something like that. So there is a potential that it can come undone. Okay, and if it comes undone, your light will just fall straight out. But it seems to hold relatively strong, and you can detach the light very easily, and it will mount just fine even with a pocket clip on this light. So that's kind of a pro and a con, depends on how you look at it. Another odd feature on this band is there is this whole gap right here that I fill in with a foam piece that comes with the light. In place of it, when the light was delivered, there's a magnet piece in here. It made the whole entire light about an ounce heavier. When I first got the light and I wore it on my head, I was like, this headlight's a little heavy. And I couldn't figure out why, because the light itself wasn't heavy, and then I found out it was the headband that's heavy because of that magnet. But if it's there, you can stick it onto different surfaces. I don't really have a need for that, so I pulled it right out. So now, in terms of weight, they're all really about the same, but the Wowtac being a little shorter than these two tends to balance itself a little bit better on your head. Not really noticeable. Okay, so build quality, band quality, right on par. Charging features, the Acebeam is definitely behind these three. Output, 900, 2200 lumens for both. Beam quality. XPL and smooth reflector versus XHP50 and XHP70.2. Definitely you're going to get more throw here on the Acebeam, on the Wowtac. Just because it has like 900 lumen doesn't mean it's not going to throw, right? If you're a thrower, this is actually the light for you because you get more throw, you get less heat, less output, longer runtime. So that might be a big pro, okay? On the 70.2 here, on this 50.2 here, actually it's not 50.2, XHP 50 on the Olight H2R. I'm not sure why they didn't use 50.2. I think is possibly because of a tint issue, because I find that 50.2 5000 Kelvin is not very nice. So but the 50 XHP 50 5000 Kelvin neutral is excellent, and this light, the tint is excellent. Frosted optics, meaning you're gonna will give you a really large, nice hotspot with no artifacts. That's my preferred theme. I don't need a lot of throw in a headlight. On the Acebeam here, you have a lightly textured reflector with a very large LED, but the 70.2, as you know, is still a quad die with just very closely spaced dies versus the 70. So you do get a very ever so slightly donut hole effect on a white wall, but only on a white wall, because if you have uneven surfaces or outdoor, you really don't see it. Honestly, I'm very beam picky, doesn't really bother me, but it's there and I thought it's worth mentioning. User interface, all three are relatively close to each other to some extent, but the Acebeam definitely stand out, and I think that's what makes it worth the extra $20, and that's what makes me think is worth over the both of these, okay? This light is pretty basic. If there are any disco modes, I don't know about it, okay? Press and hold, you get the lowest mode. From off or on, double click will always get you turbo. So let's say if I turn on the light, press and hold to ramp through any level, say I settle at a middle level, and if I double click, I'll get that instant turbo. Triple click doesn't really do anything, and from off, triple click doesn't do anything either. So as far as I know, only constant brightness levels. Instant access to low, press and hold, instant access to turbo with a double click, and honestly, that's all I need. That's all I use anyway in a headlamp. I don't need any strobe or blinky or anything like that. $30, excellent UI, build quality, turnkey package. You just really can't beat this headlamp. All right, so two heavy hitters here. Why are these two so dang expensive? Well, it has some good features, and I think that somewhat justified, but I think mostly it's because these two are brighter lights, and the factory usually upmarket their pricing because it's a brighter light. Okay, that's what I think. But in terms of build quality, they're also a little bit ahead of the Wowtac. Okay, but definitely not 3 times the price. So let's get into it. Press and hold, you get the lowest level. Only on the Wowtac and the Olight where you have this lowest moonlight. Okay, the Acebeam doesn't really have the lowest moonlight. Double click from on or off will get you turbo. So let's say if I turn on the light, I press and hold, ramp through the different levels, just like the Wowtac. Double click will get me instant turbo. Oops. Okay, middle level. Double click gets me that instant turbo. Triple click gets me SOS. Not something I'm fond of. Why do you need SOS on a headlamp? I don't need it. Maybe other people do, but I would prefer a slow blink. I think it's more useful because most people don't really use these for survival purposes. They have it in their car, and if you need to pull over on the side of the road, leave it in the back of the car, a slow blink will signal a warning that is not too disturbing. SOS is kind of too much. People might call the cops for you, or I don't know. I just think it's unnecessary to have SOS in a. At least it's not unnecessary. It's fine if it's there, but it will be nice if there's an addition of a slow blink. If there is, let me know. Same goes with the Acebeam. There's SOS on it, which I'm not really fond of. I would rather have a slow blink. pretty nice UI, pretty straightforward, and instant access to low and instant access to turbo is the two things that I mostly used. So pretty decent, good UI. Okay. So in terms of UI, these are about the same. Okay. The Acebeam though definitely stands out. Switch, press to turn on, press to turn off, just like the other two. Okay. Press and hold though from off gives you this instant access to SOS. Kind of weird in my opinion. However, click to turn on, and then here's a neat feature that the light, that Acebeam, I wouldn't say steal, but inspired by Zebra light. Okay, so there's 4 main level on this light by turning this magnetic ring. Right there. 1, 2, 3, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3, and then level 4. So that's pretty cool, a neat way to quickly select your level. However, there's another trick. If you press and hold, you get 4 sub-level, 4 micro levels that divides that level into 4 parts. So basically, you get a sub-level, and if that's not what you want, maybe a little higher would be better. For me, I set all 4 of the sub-levels to be the lowest level. That way I'll get the max runtime and a really big gap between the highest mode and turbo. Right? So if that's high, see? If that's high, and if I press it to be the lowest level, let's see. That's the lowest level 4. The lowest I can set to the main level. If I double click now, I get a substantial increase in turbo because there's now a bigger gap. So basically you can fine tune your 4 main levels with this magnetic ring. One thing that I really like about this magnetic ring is if you wear it on your head, and with this grippy rubberized grip, you can just press to turn on the light, and then you can quickly or easily, I would say, turn the magnetic ring here, and it will turn the light on and off, or not on and off, but it will go through the different levels relatively easy, and turning it on and off doesn't really shift the light on your head. So I find that very neat. And before I turn the light on, I have a choice. I would know by default because it's mechanical. If I turn it all the way back, and if I turn it on, I know I'm going to get the lowest mode. However, if I turn it to lock all the way forward, I know if I turn it on, I'm going to get the highest level. So that's very cool. Just having this magnetic ring. So, what makes this $20 better, in my opinion, is this rubberized strap that is non-existent on any of the other headband. And on top of it, you have this cool magnetic ring. I charge all myself externally outside of my lights. I honestly, in my personal opinion, trust external chargers more than internal chargers in the light. Just because if something goes wrong, it goes wrong outside of the light and it's on a charger. And chargers are built to charge. They're just better at what they're doing. They're dedicated to the task of charging. And usually they're out of the light in a safe location to charge the cell. So for me, personally, I like to charge myself out of the light. So that is not an inconvenient for me having this light doesn't have, with this light not having a built-in charger. But it is for you. Definitely, if you don't like to take yourself out of your light, there you go. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, but there is an exposed connection that you can actually have the battery shorted on the back of this light. I'm not sure if I mentioned this already. I'll mention it again anyway if I haven't. So it's clearly laser printed on here. Do not short circuit. If there's micro dust in your metallic dust, because this is magnetized in your environment and it gets on here, I would think there's a chance that it might short circuit. But then again, it's a protected cell. If it short circuit, the battery circuit protection should just trip and nothing bad should really happen. Okay, I hope I went over everything I needed to say. I'm sure I missed some things, but leave your questions in the comments below. Yes, go for the Wowtac if you're on a budget, if you just need a headlamp to toss around, or if you just need a good headlamp, because it is excellent for 30-something bucks, alright? Between these two, unless you must have that fast detachable band and the deep carrying pocket clip that this light comes with, because the Acebeam Only these two lights come with pocket clip. Only this one has the nice longer deep carry one. If that's an important feature to you, not to me, then go for the Acebeam. It's an go for the Olight. It's an excellent light, and it was my favorite all time. But now that I've gotten a chance to use and put the Acebeam through its paces, I really think that is a better headlamp. But $410, that's a lot of money. That's definitely a lot of money. All right, thank you guys.